All right, welcome back. Well, did you know that 1 in 4 couples say they have credit cards or bank accounts that they have not told their partner about? John Vandergriff of Blue Ridge Wealth Planners joins us now. John, this can't be a great conversation to have with a couple when they come in and sit down, and all of a sudden the surprise pops up.
Right. Yeah, and so, you know, it's no surprise that one of the biggest indicators of divorce is a lack of financial communication or a lack of awareness of monies that are kind of over here. And so, you know, as we were talking about, one of the big things that happens in a relationship is when you don't have this financial communication, there's really no division of responsibilities, which means one spouse may step in and do everything, the other spouse may not do anything at all, or somebody may be doing something on the side that the other one doesn't know about. Yeah. So we want to try to rectify that, you know, with some communication.
Obviously, this has got to be one of the biggest mistakes that you probably come across as far as couples when they're handling their finances.
Yeah, I mean, lack of communication is definitely in there because, you know, I always tell people in a good relationship, you should have a spender and a saver, because if you have two spenders, then you don't have any money.
Right.
If you have two savers, you don't ever enjoy it. And so the ideal thing would be the saver have a little bit more control over what happens with the expenses. But when that communication isn't there, you know, it really leads to assumptions, or as we talk about, 30% of couples have some type of financial infidelity, which is a shocking statistic to me when I was looking at this.
It's a large number. It's a very large number. So what kind of questions then should you be asking then if you sit down with your partner? What kind of things should you be bringing up, talking about then?
Well, we should be looking at, you know, what is our budget? And so some people say, what is a budget? That's a good place to start too. You know, typically in a relationship, when you see division of responsibility, sometimes people go to more of a short-term financial person and a longer-term financial person.
Okay.
You know, the shorter term being kind of the day-to-day bills that you have, monthly expenses, longer term about savings and investments for your future. So try to have that, but keep that budget to where both members are included in the conversation. We say in the office, failing to plan is planning to fail. So you want to be able to have a direction of where you're going. That should leak down into the budget, but if you don't ever have that conversation, making sure you're sitting down with somebody, especially if you don't really know where to start. Talking to a financial professional is a good idea. And then, you know, as we look at it, we want to make sure that, you know, people are as involved as they want to be, and that we also do this toward their skill sets. You know, if you don't care about a budget and then you're given that job in your relationship, don't be surprised whenever you have friction that gets created there. You know, try to give it to the spouse who cares more about it, and you'll typically have more success.
So I'm going to say, no, we're done right here. I mean, no more spending.
Yeah.
Right? You got to have that person in the relationship. I know you just ran through a bunch of tips. Anything else we need to think about here real quick, just as far as avoiding any of those financial fights, if you will?
Well, I mean, obviously being mindful of debt, trying to talk about ways to get out of that, making sure that you have good emergency expense, and then making sure in that plan you've got some eye toward the future, but not sole focused, because too many times people get on the future and they don't focus on enjoying the relationship now.
And you've talked about that too. Don't get too caught, you know, looking ahead. You got to live in the current time, right?
Right. You got to make sure you're able to have a good balance there.
Good stuff. All right, John, as always, thank you very much.